Hello everyone, this is part 16 of What If Naruto Was Banished and Becomes Master Swordsman, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Naruto sat there waiting patiently. Naya motioned for Naruto to follow her into the kitchen. When the group was in the kitchen, Naruto and Kaito both took a seat. Naya, however, went to make some coffee. So, why are you here, Fox ? Kaito asked. I was attacked by Konoha Anbu, a division called Root. I'm looking for Jiraiya, I figure he's bound to pop in on you soon enough. Naruto said. Naya walked back up to the group with a cup of joe in her hand. She then took a seat next to Kaito, so I was right. I can only assume that you dispatched of the Root squad that was after you. I had no choice. And what's this you were right ? Naruto asked, hoping she could give him some more insight. Well, the man who runs this division, Danzu, operates it as a single entity completely separate from the Hokage's authority. When I said I was right, I meant he obviously sees you as a threat. Naya informed Naruto. Naruto was getting pissed, anyone could tell by the frustrated look. Great, another fucking person who wants me dead. At least Abar-chan was smart enough to place a mole in Root. A mole? What are you talking about ? Naya wondered. The squad that attacked me had a member who was under Tsunde's orders to escort me back to Konoha. I think she did this because the guy who was the mole was the member who replaced me in Kakashi's squad. He is in the town 100 miles from here. I'm supposed to meet him at noon today. Naruto informed the two. Kaito stroked his chin. Well, I guess you should meet him. Naruto shook his head. I'm not going to meet him. If I know Abar-chan, he is going to be in constant contact and give her updates on me. I can't have that. I was going to ask you to get in contact with Jiraiya, but you seem to know the situation. Well, I don't know it all. What I do know is that Danzu wants you dead. I'm guessing he fears you learning the Hiraishin, Naya said to the young man before her. Well, I guess I have no choice then. Naruto stood up. Both looking at him, Kaito spoke. No choice, what are talking about Naruto ? When you guys see Jiraiya, tell him to meet me at the junction where the demon and the angel fell together. He'll know what I'm talking about. Naruto shunshined out of the kitchen using smoke to cover his tracks. Naya cursed herself for not asking him about the Hiraishin. She turned to Kaito. Do you know what the hell he meant by that ? Kaito shook his head. No clue whatsoever. I wonder where he's heading though. Konoha 9 a.m. All of the genin squads that qualified for the second exam were standing in front of Ino, who was standing in front of the metal fence that sealed off the forest. Okay, before we begin the second exam, I'm going to pass out these forms to everyone. Ino showed everyone that was gathered the forms in her hand. Everyone was giving her a look of confusion, so she explained, the forms are consent forms. Consent forms? Why ? Akuru asked. Ino proceeded to answer, from here on out, people will die and the Leaf Village will not be responsible for anyone's deaths. Our shinobi included. Ranpu, who had his arms folded and a look of boredom, are you going to tell us about the second exam or what ? Well, I was actually getting to that. To put it simply, the second exam is survival test. All of you will be pitted against one another in this exam. If you look to your left, you will see a tent. In the tent, your team will receive either a heaven or an earth scroll. Your objective is to find a team with a scroll that is opposite of yours and retrieve it from them. Remember, anything goes. Once you have 2 scrolls, you are to head to the tower. Ino pulled out a scroll revealing a map. This is the layout for the training area 44. It's a circular area with 44 entrances. The tower, which you are to head to, is in the center of the forest. Ino pulled out the 2 scrolls. This white scroll is the heaven scroll and the blue one is the earth scroll. Since there are 28 teams, 1 scroll will be giving out to each squad. So all we have to do to pass is bring both scrolls to the tower ? Ranpu asked. It's not that simple. Yes, you have to bring the scrolls to the tower, but all 3 team members must be alive and you have a time limit. Ino informed the boy of the conditions. Time limit, how long do we have question mark, Futeki, the female of Team Anko asked. Ino opened her closed palms, 5 days. So that's what you meant by cutting that numbers in half, Yasumi, from Team Yamato pointed out. Yes. Now, if you will fill out the consent forms and submit them we can begin the exam. Hand in your forms as a team, you will be giving your scroll once you do. You have a half an hour to complete this. You will be giving a number on which gate to report to. You are to head to that gate immediately. When the gates open, the exam begins. Good luck to you all. 20 minutes later, each Genin squad filled out the consent forms, handed them in, and received a scroll and the gate number. Squad 4 walked over to Squad 8. Well, it looks like you guys are enemies from here on out. Makinu said. So it seems. Just make sure you guys make it to the tower, okay? Yasumi said with a genuine smile. Team 9 walked up to the squad. Toshita spoke, you idiots, be careful. Just hope you don't cross us, that goes for you too, pretty boy. Ranpu glanced at Toshita, you're confident, Toshita. However, we're the ones you should be worrying about. Akuru grabbed both her teammates' arms, let's go you two, we have to get to our gate. Team 8 and Team 9 headed towards the gate as well. Looking at the group disperse, was the rock squad that Squad 4 had a run-in with yesterday. So what's the plan, Ishii? Renger asked. Ain't it obvious? We get a scroll and head to the tower? Ishii informed his teammates. What about that Leaf team? We can kill them without worrying about war? Urasu pointed out. Ishii, who had his arms folded, shook his head. No, the Tsuchikage said get through the exams. Besides, we have no idea how good they are. If we run into them then we will fight, but our objective is not to seek them out. Urasu nodded. Understood, let's head to our gate then. The rock squad headed to the gate. In fact, all of the Genin squads were heading toward the gates. 5 minutes later, Ranpu, Akuru, and Makinu were standing in front of gate 16. The group looked at each other waiting for the gate to open. At gate 25, Rado, Jikoku, and Suki were waiting for the gate to open. The group looked confident. Their level of confidence would have unnerved most. They had one objective and that was get to the tower, which in their opinion was child's play. The gates slowly opened. When they were open fully, everyone took off at full speed into the forest. The second portion of the exam had now begun. Naya's place at 3 p.m. The lady of the house was heading towards her lab until sensed someone nearby. Kaito left earlier to get what info he could on Cloud. He was her ears to out there, her and the other person she sensed in standing behind her in the corridor. Jiraiya-sensei, I wasn't expecting you so soon. Is Hinata with you? Yes, I also brought the head of the Manashu clan with me. They're waiting in the living room. Naya turned to face Jiraiya. She proceeded to follow the Sannin. When they entered the living room she saw Hinata and a tall samurai-looking fellow. She looked into his onyx eyes, then she turned and smiled at Hinata. Look at you, Hinata, how have you been? Hinata walked up and hugged her sensei. I've been good, sensei. The two separated and Hinata continued. Jiraiya-sama told me that you wanted to see me. I was going to actually come see you after this war to take you up on your offer. Well, that's why I called you. I actually need your help with a seal I have been working on. I need to train you how to use said seal. I'm going to need another person, sir, and I thought you would be perfect, Naya told Hinata. She looked at Jiraiya. So this is the kid you were telling me about. This is Ryo's nephew? You knew my uncle? Shinji asked curiously. Smiling at the young man, yes, I did. I'm sorry to hear about your family. Your uncle was very good friend. Jiraiya has informed me that you might want somewhere private to train. Shinji was looking from side to side. Yay, but more importantly, where is Naruto? He stopped by in the wee hours of the morning. She looked at Jiraiya. He wanted me to get into contact with you. What does he want with me? The Sannin asked his former student. He was attacked by Root, Naya stated. Jiraiya just gave a smirk. So Danzu sent his goons after Naruto? One can only assume that they're dead. Naya nodded. Yes, well, except for one, according to Naruto. He said that a kid by the name of Sai, I believe, told him that he was a member of Root but his loyalties lied with the Hokage. Naruto said the kid said something about being sent by Tsunade-senpai or something like that. Jiraiya placed his hand to his chin. I see. That's Tsunade for you. I can't believe Danzu finally made his move. I guess he never tried before because Naruto always had Kaito, Raiho, and me by his side. Excuse me, but what is root question mark? Hinata's question caused Jiraiya to respond. Root is a special division of Konoha's Anbu ran separately from the Anbu under the Hokage's command. This group is under the direct command of Danzu. Danzu group has been responsible for the assassination of various shinobi that held grudges against Konoha and those that oppose a threat to the village. Guess where Naruto falls question mark? Hinata realized why Danzu went after Naruto. Naruto was strong enough to beat Sasuke and he also had the 9 tails sealed inside of him. Naruto was in danger and she couldn't help but worry. So what did he say question mark? Jiraiya asked. He wants you to meet him at the junction where the demon and the angel fell together. He said you would know what that means. Naya informed Jiraiya, who looked confused. After thinking about it, his facial expression showed that he understood. So you want to meet me at the Great Naruto Bridge? But why question mark? Well, I guess I'll be leaving Hinata and Shinji in your care. Are you leaving so soon, Jiraiya-sensei question mark? Naya asked. Yes, my trip is going to take me at least 2 days. I will be back in a week or so. Naya spoke once more, but what about the Chunin exams question mark? Isn't it going to start this week question mark? Jiraiya shook his head, not likely. Gamakichi was in contact with her recently and he informed me that more contestants than expect pass the first exam. Even if those numbers get cut in half, it seems that there will be a preliminary round and the finals will be a month later. She said something about overhearing you and Senzaru talking. Naya's eyes widen in shock. Jiraiya told her to escort him to the exit. Before she did, she looked at Hinata. Hinata, help Shinji get settled will ya question mark. She turned back to Jiraiya as they walked towards the door. Why didn't you inform me that Senzaru can't access his Phoenix powers to their fullest capabilities question mark? So Tsunade-senpai knows question mark, Naya said. Yes, she knows. She isn't the Hokage for nothing. You weren't the only one who has a precautionary tactic. Tsunade did this to give Naruto an extra month. At first she didn't believe, much like you, but she more than anyone believes that the boy will get the technique down. Jiraiya stated. Naya looked at her feet. I don't doubt that, but there is always a chance that he won't get it. Even if she allows him an extended month for training, there is no guarantee that he will master the techniques. So what if her plan backfires question mark? Jiraiya laughed. You obviously don't know Chunin. You think she is depending on Naruto or Senzaru. She doesn't even intend for those two to fight Aizu. She plans on fighting him herself. She hasn't been getting in fighting shape for the last 2 months for nothing. Nobody knows this except me. Everyone is preparing for what is to come. So it looks like you have more time to teach Hinata how the seal works. Chunin-senpai can't match Aizu, Naya told Jiraiya. Maybe, but I wouldn't count her out just yet. Besides, even if she can't, who are you to say she can't fight him question mark? She is the Hokage after all. She knows what is obligated of her and she is merely fulfilling that obligation. I have to go. I will see you in about 2 weeks, take care. Jiraiya left Naya behind. Naya just watched her sensei leave. She couldn't believe that Tsunade intended to fight him. She knew that the only one who could stand against Aizu was Senzaru if he gained full access to the Phoenix powers. Naruto, in her opinion, was a wild card. You didn't know what you would get with him. At least if all else failed, her seal would seal of the dragon powers, giving him enough time to kill him. At least Tsunade was smart enough to give her a month. Sometimes Tsunade's intelligence impressed her. She just hoped it was enough to keep her alive. The Forest of Death 5 hours later. Squad 4, after obtaining the Heaven scroll from a grass group, thanks to Ranpu's Byakugan spotting them, the group decided to rest. Sitting on the protruding root, Makinu wiped his mouth after taking a sip of some water. That was fun. I can't believe they fell for that. So what's the next move question mark? Ranpu, who was leading against a trunk not too far away, answered, our next step is to head to the tower. We will move in A, V, with me taking the lead. Makinu didn't like that. Why the hell do you have to be in the lead question mark? Akuru, who was sitting on a branch above them, answered, he has the Byakugan idiot. he can see incoming attacks and warn us before it happens. Stop making this a contest of who's better ? We have an exam to pass and our teamwork here is essential. Makinu hated to admit but she was right, and even though he didn't like it, Ranpu was fitted to lead. Okay, you can lead, just don't get us killed. Whatever, let's head out. Nodding to their team leader, the group phased out of sight. In another part of the forest, Anko's Squad 9 had just obtained an Earth scroll from a Mist Squad, but their victory was short-lived. They ran into the rock nins from the exams. Futeki was doing all she could to help her teammates, but their lack of skill was putting her at a disadvantage. These rock nins were good. Kiseki skidded across the floor, stopping at the side of her. Damn, Kiseki is down. At least Toshita is still active. She cursed herself for jinxing herself when he fell to the ground on the other side of her. Ishi was soon immediately joined by Renga and Urasu. Shit, even by myself I can't take these guys. They don't even need our scroll yet they're attacking us. Oh well, I guess I'll go down fighting. Futeki pulled out 2 kunai. Urasu laughed. What are you planning to do with those but get yourself hurt, little girl? I'm going to kill you. The fact that you have 2 scrolls and you're trying to take ours is pointless, Futeki pointed out. You think we want your scrolls? You're lucky Ishi didn't participate in this little extracurricular activity. He agrees we should be at the tower, but I say if we can eliminate a few vermin and increase our chances then why not, Renga informed Futeki. Shit, that makes sense. These guys are good and that guy over there has been standing there bored the whole time, not even fighting. I have to protect those guys. Futeki threw her kunai but Urasu dodged it. Urasu shocked to see the girl behind her, but she smiled at Futeki. Futeki wondered why she was smiling, but a forceful hit to the head that sent her to the ground answered her question. Picking herself up slowly, all she could think was that this wasn't looking too good for her. Ranpu, who had his Byakugan activated, glanced to his right. It seems that Squad 9 won't be making it to the tower. What do you mean? Makinu asked. I mean they're battling that rock squad that confronted us yesterday. Futeki is the only one fighting, but she will be dead soon if she doesn't stay down. Okay, we're going to help? Makinu asked. Ranpu shook his head. No. We have a mission. They knew what this test consisted of. Ranpu realized that his team had stopped. Makinu's hands were balled into a fist at his side. What direction? You're not going to help. We have to get to the tower. Ranpu said. To hell with the tower. Makinu yelled out. Bastard, we don't have time to worry about them, we have to worry about our team. Ranpu was getting frustrated. Akuru was looking back and forth at both of the boys. Stop arguing guys, we really shouldn't be doing this. Shut up Akuru. Makinu said, shocking the girl. Playing peacemaker this time won't work. This bastard and I have a serious problem. What direction are they in? Ranpu pointed, about 2 minutes in that direction. Now that you know, let's. Makinu punched Ranpu, causing the boy fly back. Ranpu grabbed the branch then swung around it until he was standing again. What was that for? Our friends are in danger and all you can think about is getting to the tower. If it was any of us, Futeki wouldn't hesitate to help us. She may act tough but she would help us in an instant. Yet you don't care if they get killed. You can go to the tower, I will make it there. But not before I help Futeki-chan out. Makinu left the group behind. Akuru looked at Ranpu and shook her head. For the first time in her life she was disappointed in him. She then took off after Makinu. Ranpu punched the tree trunk. Idiots. Everyone is an enemy in this exam, don't they understand that? He took off after his squad. Back with Futeki, things wasn't looking too good for the girl. With one eye closed halfway, she picked herself up slowly. Reaching for her kunai, that's all you guys got? Yarasu was certain that hit would put the girl down. She narrowed her eyes at the girl. Renga, don't interfere. That silly bitch is mine. Cracking a smirk, bring it on, Futeki mouthed off. When Yarasu went to attack she jumped to the side avoiding a kunai thrown at her head. When she landed she saw the boy that Renga confronted in the first exam standing on the tree giving him a look full of hate. Ishi looked up at the boy, it might get interesting. Makinu appeared next to Futeki. When the girl fell to her knees he went to her aid. Are you okay Futeki-chan? What the hell are you doing here? Trying to play hero or what? She said, standing back up slowly. Yes, Futeki-chan, sit this one out and watch over those two. It's my turn to protect you, like you protected me when we're little from bullies. Meikinu turned to face Urasu. The Kaneki from Rock smiled. What, offended that I hurt your girlfriend over there? Are you going to do something about it? She's not my girlfriend, but she is my best friend. You idiots picked the wrong person to pick on. Meikinu used his speed to appear in front of Urasu. What the? She was too shocked by his speed, but when his kick sent her flying upward, he blurred out of sight and appeared behind her. This is a variation to what Lee-san taught me. You're going to love it. Before he could even begin, he had to turn and block a kick from Renger, who sent him back to the ground. When he landed in a crouching position, he stood up and narrowed his eyes at Renger. The girl landed and she was pissed. She couldn't believe he was that fast and the move he pulled to get behind her. She was a sitting duck, and if it wasn't for Renger, she didn't want to imagine what would have happened. Meikinu stared the two down. Damn. If he didn't interfere, I could have used the leaf shadow dance in conjunction with my own killer combo. Futeki, who was standing behind Meikinu, was surprised to see him in this light. The boy that got bullied for majority of his years at the academy, who she was friends with and protected, was now standing in front of her fighting with these guys evenly. She noticed how he effortlessly blocked that Renger and how he completely outclassed that Urasu girl. Meikinu slipped into a fighting stance. Meikinu was surprised by what happened next. Sensing a presence behind him, his head turned to the side as if it was moving in slow motion. Shit, I don't have enough time to react. Before Ishii could strike the boy down with his kunai, he felt kick planted in his side that sent him flying. Seeming unfazed by the hit, he backflipped into a landing. Looking up at the culprit, he saw Ranpu standing in a tree. Akuru appeared in front of an unconscious Toshita and Kiseki. Ranpu, who was staring at Ishii, directed his words at Meikinu. Next time you act, at least have a plan, idiot. You could have gotten killed. I'm not going to be able to save your ass all of the time. I missed you to sweetheart. Meikinu said sarcastically. Ranpu spoke to Futeki. Can you still fight, Futeki, or are you just dead? Wait? Futeki gave him the middle finger. How about you try me and we'll see what happens. I guess that's a no. It doesn't matter, we can take it from here. Akuru, watch over those two. Ranpu said to his teammate, who nodded. Ishii spoke. Well, this is most unfortunate. I tried to tell you guys that we should have head to the tower. I'm no fool, the odds are in your favor. Besides, you have my pouch with our scrolls in it. We will be retreating for now, but remember this, Hyuga, the next time we meet I will fight you with everything I have. Don't judge my performance by our little scuffle. The next time we meet, I will show my full power. Urasu, Renger were leaving. Urasu narrowed her eyes at Meikinu. I plan on paying you back for that kick, that you can count on. The rock group disappeared using smoke to cover the getaway. Ranpu appeared next to Futeki and Meikinu. Using his Byakugan, he looked at Kiseki and Toshita chakra system. Both were unconscious, that much was true. Meikinu, who was holding up Futeki, spoke to his male teammate. I don't plan to leave them out here. I'm going to wait till Futeki-chan is healed, and those two are awake so we can travel together. Ranpu shrugged. Whatever, just make sure that they're okay. I'll keep a lookout. He whispered to Futeki, I'm staying with you until we get to the tower. I know you would do the same. She was happy, but she acted nonchalant. Whatever, just don't go getting yourself beat up calling yourself protecting me. They both knew that was her way of say thank you. Not too far away, Neji and Lee. That Meikinu kid is good. Did you show him that, Lee? Lee, who had on an Anbu mask, nodded. Yes. I'm surprised he used the leaf shadow dance. I told him not to. But it was okay for you to use it to save Sakura? Neji pointed out. Lee tried to respond, but he couldn't say anything. Lee decided to change the subject. Ranpu is good. They kind of remind me of us. Neji smiled. I thought they kind of mirrored Team Kakashi, but I guess I can see where you're coming from. Lee heard a voice coming through on his headset. Iron Fist, do you copy? This is Red Fang. I need you 2 miles northwest of the tower. Captain's orders, of course. Roger that. Lee turned to Neji. Well, I guess I better get going. My squad needs me. We're still on for our match tomorrow, right Neji question mark. Yes of course. You think I would let you off the hook that easy question mark, Neji said to his friend. I suppose not, being a sore loser and all. Well I will see you Neji. Lee blurred out of sight with incredible speed leaving Neji alone. Neji continued to watch the unsuspecting group. Wave Country 1 p.m. 2 days later. It's been a day since Konohamaru and gang arrived in Wave Country. Inari greeted the group at the bridge. What Tsunade forgot to tell the group was that the mission implied them staying for a couple of days. They had to wait for Tazuna to return from Water Country with a package that he had for Tsunade. Sitting at the table, Konohamaru looked at Inari. You said your grandfather would be back today right question mark. Yes. He should be home soon. I can take you guys into the village and show you around. Inari offered. Thanks, but that's okay. I will say though this place is nice. I really like Wave Country. Konohamaru said. Tsunami pulled out a chair and sat with the teens. Well we have 4 people to thank for that, but one in particular. Kakashi, Sakura, Sasuke and Naruto. Those 4 helped this country during their mission to protect my father. It's kind of messed up he got banished from his village. Some people in the village fear him, after what he did to all of those shinobi in those 2 countries. Konohamaru stood up and slammed his hand against the table. He did what he did for a good reason. Naruto Nisan wouldn't have done it had they, forget it. Konohamaru-kun question mark, Mogi said to her friend who slammed the door on his way out. I'm sorry for Konohamaru-kun's actions. It's just that he took Naruto Nisan's banishment hard and he respects Naruto Nisan a lot. Mogi informed Tsunami. Don't worry, I'm sure Naruto reasons were good. I was just saying that some in our country fear him for what he did. I don't know the story behind what he did but I'm sure it's a good one, Tsunami said to Mogi. What he did was noble. Hanabi said, gaining the attention of everyone except Udon. Really? How so Hanabi-san question mark, Inari asked. It goes back to his time with the Manashu clan. During that time he developed a bond with the head of the clan's daughter. They became close to the point where they see each other as brother and sister. About a year ago or so, the girl was kidnapped by shinobi from that rain country. Naruto went after them and slaughtered those who held her captive. He did what he did to save his little sister. People have killed for less, he killed to protect. Hanabi informed everyone, even Mogi who didn't know the story. Hanabi stood up and exited the house. When she got outside she saw Konohamaru leaning on the porch fence. Are you okay question mark. More serious than usual tone, I'm fine. You're not fine, you're upset and you're upset over nothing. I understand you respect that blonde idiot, I mean Naruto, but you can't get mad at people for having their opinions of him even if they are wrong. I said what I had to say, I will leave you alone. Hanabi went back into the house. Konohamaru's eyes were still on the ground. 5 minutes passed and he didn't even notice the old man that was talking to him. He finally turned the old man. I'm sorry, did you say something sir question mark, Konohamaru asked. I said you must be the leaf nins that Tsunade sent. I didn't expect her to send kids, but I guess she feels confident in you guys. Tazuna adjusted his glasses. Standing up completely, Konohamaru glared at the bridge builder. What is that supposed to mean question mark. It means that these are plans for the castle I'm renovating for the daimyo. Ever since I built that bridge, I've been in high demand, which is why I was in Water Country and constructed some housing and stores for a village there. Anyway, come inside with me, Tazuna motioned with his hands for Konohamaru to follow him. After a couple of minutes inside the house, Tazuna was talking to the group and telling about his trip in Water Country. Hanabi was the one that informed him that they wanted to get back to the village tomorrow, so he gave the group the scroll and waved them off. Inari decided to walk the group to the bridge. Lurking in the shadows, a member team from Rock waited in the wings. So it would seem that they are traveling with a Hyuga. We have to get our hands on that document. If it wasn't for that late tip, we would have been able to intercept Tazuna at the port before he even made it here. A female nin licked her lips. I prefer it this way, now we get to kill some leaf scum. The group stayed close but hid in the shadows. The Great Naruto Bridge 4 hours later. Jiraiya stood in the middle of the bridge waiting for Naruto. He had an idea what the boy wanted. Jiraiya felt a blade pressed against his neck. I see you have gotten better, Naruto. Smiling, of course. Too bad you're not as good as you think. Naruto heard Jiraiya behind him. The clone in front of him turned into water. Naruto placed his sword back in the holster. Give me some credit, after all I only had enough time to swipe this. Naruto showed Jiraiya the rough draft of his new Ika script. Naruto threw the script to Jiraiya, who caught it. Checking the script to make sure everything was there, he let out a sigh of relief. Well, you called me here. I'm sure it wasn't to show me your skills, so what do you want? Everything you know about Danzu, the bold squads that are after me, and Tsunde's mole. Scratching his head, well, I don't know much about that Sai character. Tsunde didn't fill me in on that. As for Bolt, some have already infiltrated the village but are being closely monitored by Anbu. As for Danzu, where do I begin? With a solemn expression, the beginning is fine by me. Well, I will leave out what you already know. Danzu competed with Sarutobi-sensei for the title of the third. He hates everything the third stands for, and he's probably enjoying this war more than anyone. His group of Anbu is responsible for the disappearance of a lot of elite shinobi. If you pose a threat to Konoha, you're on Danzu's list. Seems you should be happy, you made among the ranks of the elite. Sarcasm did not go unnoticed by Naruto. Yes, but I seem to be on everyone's list. I'm public enemy, number 1. Maybe so. So what's your next move, Naruto? I have a couple of things I need to take care of, but I will probably head back to the Leaf in couple of days. That's when the tournament will start, right? Jiraiya almost forgot to tell him. I almost forgot. Final tournament will not be for another month. Tsunde did this to help you out as well as prepare more for Aizu. Naruto was glad. Yes. I have more time. This is great. More time for what? Jiraiya asked. More time to perfect the Hiraishin. I'm about 80% to where I want to be. Also, I have to master the 5th technique of Heaven's Blade. I'm about 40% with that, but another month and I should have it down. Naruto informed the Sannin. On the bridge, Konohamaru, Hanabi, Udon and Mogi were heading back towards the Leaf. Udon and Mogi were talking about something the third's grandson wasn't paying attention to. Instead, Konohamaru was wondering why they passed the same sign twice. Genjutsu were trapped. Konohamaru stopped and surveyed the area. Everyone stopped and looked at Konohamaru. Hanabi didn't know what was going on, so she asked, "What's the matter?" Reaching for his kunai, Konohamaru said, "Activate your Byakugan, we're in a genjutsu." Hanabi activated her Byakugan only to find out that Konohamaru was right. How did I not sense this? Pulling out a kunai to prepare for the shinobi hiding, she said, "Looks like we have company." Konohamaru immediately jumped to where an unsuspecting Mogi was at to block a kunai aimed her throat. Relishing that she was almost hit, she immediately jumped back with Konohamaru. The group was now back to back. Breaking the illusion, the group found themselves surrounded by 8 shinobi from Rock. The male that was facing Konohamaru spoke, "You're pretty good for a kid. You were the first to notice our genjutsu and you even saved that girl from having her head amputated. What do you want?" Konohamaru asked, already knowing it wasn't that hard to figure out. "Just give over the blueprints you have and we might let you live." The male Rock Nin said. Hanabi stepped forward, "Not a chance. The only way you're taking it is if you kill us, and that's not going to happen." The female laughed at the girl. "Are you foolish? Kill her now? A shinobi popped up from the ground behind Hanabi. Hanabi, who had her Byakugan activated, just pressed her index and middle finger into the shinobi's head. The said shinobi dropped to the ground dead. Hanabi smirked at the female. "Seems that your plan to catch me off guard was ineffective. So what's your next move?" Konohamaru was observing the shinobi. There are only 7 left. That lady and that guy are the most troublesome, since they are acting as the leaders and no one is opposing them. Before the young Sarutobi could react, 3 shinobi appeared in front Udon and 2 in front of Mogi. The girl appeared in front of Hanabi. That left him with the leader of the group. Udon and Mogi knew Konohamaru would go after them, but Udon yelled out, "Don't worry about us. Focus on your opponent, Konohamaru." Konohamaru turned back to his opponent. "I will finish this quick. My friends need my help." "You think I will be that easy, kid?" I'm a Junin from Rock, the greatest of the 5 shinobi villages. The Rock Junin said proudly. Konohamaru smirked, not according to Naruto-Nisan. The shinobi's eyes widened then narrowed. You're acquainted with the golden fox? If that's the case I will slaughter you. Clutching his kunai, Konohamaru slipped into a fighting stance. Bring it on. Hanabi and the female Junin were staring each other down. The female Junin knew about the Hyuga and she also knew that getting close to the girl would be stupid. She would have to keep this fight mid-range. Using a doton to get things started, 3 spikes came out of the ground to pierce Hanabi, but the leaf Chunin backflipped before the jutsu could connect. When she landed, the Junin was on her. The female threw a punch which Hanabi avoided, but she didn't have the speed that the Junin surprised her with. The next punch connected and sent her flying off of the bridge into the water. Mogi, who was struggling with her 2 opponents, who seemed to be playing with her, glanced at Hanabi who made a splash into the water. Udon wasn't faring too well either. He was flashing through ideas in his head, but 3-on-1 was still too much for his current level. Surprisingly, Konohamaru was faring well but his concentration wavered when he saw Hanabi. He was about to abandon his fight to save her but then he stopped. He had to believe that she wouldn't let something like that take her down. When he saw a water dragon come out of the water he knew he was right to believe in her skill. Somewhere else on the bridge, Naruto and Jiraiya saw the water dragon come out of the water. Jiraiya looked at Naruto. Maybe we should check it out. I sense Konohamaru's, Moeji's, and Udon's chakra and that dragon was caused by Hanabi. Shit, they need help. Naruto shunned out of sight heading to the source of the dragon, but he proceeded with caution. Jiraiya decided to follow. 5 minutes later, Konohamaru and Hanabi were the last 2 standing out of the group. Her water dragon was effective enough to take out 2 more members reducing the total count to 5. But that still didn't even the playing field. He commended Udon and Mogi and he was certain if they weren't double-teamed they would have won their matches. Now it was up to him and Hanabi. The 2 were standing protecting their injured friends. Konohamaru stepped forward. I will take on all 5 of you. The female Junin and the male Junin who seemed to be leading the group looked at each other. I like you kid, you have guts. The male Junin said. Hanabi whispered to Konohamaru, what are you doing? You promised. Konohamaru threw the scroll to Hanabi. I know. But I also promised myself I would protect my friends no matter what. It's just a bad draw that's all. I'm not leaving. We can take them, the 2 of us. Hanabi said. Count me in as well. Udon slowly stood holding his right arm. Hanabi looked at the boy kind of surprised he was still able to stand. You should rest, you will only be a burden. The female rock Junin was tired of the talking. This is getting boring, it's time you die now. They're not going to die, if I have anything to do with it. Konohamaru recognized that voice. When he turned around he saw Naruto standing about 10 feet away. One of the lower rock shinobi said, is that? The female nodded, yes. It looks like we're in the money. Not only will we have a Hyuga but we will get Uzumaki as well. Do you think you can claim my head so easily? Naruto said after hearing what the female said. Sure. I mean killing the Manashu clan was easy enough. The female said with evil grin. The other lower-level rock shinobi spoke, yay, especially when that guy from Cloud put his sword through that purple-haired bitch who was yelling, you will not do anything to my children, until she got a sword through the gut, serves that bitch right. Lucky her daughter wasn't there, I would have killed her myself. Naruto's eyes showed his rage. Before the nin could finish his laughing, Naruto's sword claimed his head. Blood was squirting everywhere. The 4 that were left immediately created distance between them and Naruto. Konohamaru, Mogi, and Udon were shocked but Hanabi gave a look of indifference. Her only thought was, so fast. Holding the bloody sword, while standing over the corpse of the rock shinobi, he slowly turned his head to the female. Did all of you help with the extermination? She smiled, yes, and I enjoyed every second of it. You're just lucky I didn't get my hand on that little bitch myself. Still with the sword his hands, Naruto spoke, so a Cloud Shinobi is responsible for that, purple-haired, bitch as your headless friend said death. The male Junin who was on the far left of the bridge nodded. Put his sword right through her stomach. Beautiful, just beautiful. Jiraiya, who was hiding, watched Naruto and noticed that Heaven's blade was still on Naruto's back, so it seems what Shinji said was true. Naruto is acting on vengeance, which is why he isn't using Heaven's blade. Those shinobi are fools for tempting him. Konohamaru took steps towards Naruto. Now that Naruto Nisan evened the playing field, care to have our rematch without your friends interfering? Hanabi looked at the Kaneki. How about you ? Think you can take me without your goons ? Naruto spoke in a low tone. You two stay put. Hanabi watched Naruto for a minute before shrugging. Whatever. I was getting bored anyway. Konohamaru just watched Naruto. Naruto Nisan. One of the two low-level Chunins yelled out, enough with this shit, die you bastard. Before the shinobi could perform the necessary hand seals, blood squirted from where his hands should have been. Before he could scream, the blade sliced through his waistline, splitting the shinobi in half. The other low-level shinobi with the group decided to capitalize on the fact that Naruto was focused on his teammate. A javelin extended from the ground and shot at Naruto. Without even looking at the incoming spear, Naruto did a downward slash that created a blade of wind, which flew at the shinobi while destroying the javelin. Not having enough time to dodge, the wind vertically split him in half. The female and the male Junin looked at one another and nodded. She jumped in the air and her teammate did a hand seal and placed his hand in the ground. Once he realizes his feet are caught, it will be too late to dodge. Hey, what the male rock Junin hands were stuck in the concrete of the bridge. When he blinked, Naruto was not in his line of sight. Konohamaru relishing instantly where Naruto was at, he turned to the girl in the air. There. He pointed. Hanabi and Udon turned to see Naruto behind the girl. The Kaneki turned her head slightly, but she didn't have time to react to the kick that was placed in her back. It sent her crashing near her partner. Naruto, who had placed his sword in the holster before performing his own danton on the male Junin, landed a few feet away from the group. The female picked herself up only to find she couldn't move. What the? You're caught in my jutsu. I gave the others a quick death, but you two I will make sure that it's slow and painful. It seems that we are around a large body of water. How unfortunate for you. A ring of water was vertically spinning around Naruto. He whispered, water style, great waterfall jutsu. A stream of high-pressured spinning body of water shot and swallowed up the two shinobi and transported them to the larger body of water below the bridge. Naruto wasn't done there. He did a few more hand seals. He saw the two shinobi trying to swim in the water. This next technique would finish it all. Naruto held his hands together and said to himself, lightning style, electric pulse. The electricity pulsed through the body of water, electrocuting the Junins until they were charred. Sinking to the bottom of the water, Naruto released his blood-covered hands. He turned to Konohamaru. Are you okay? He asked. The boy nodded. I'm fine, but Moeji's leg is injured. She waved Konohamaru off. Don't worry about me, I'm fine. Konohamaru placed her on his back, not buying it. I will carry you the rest of the way. He turned to Naruto with Mogi on his back. Are you heading back with us? Shaking his head, he replied, no. The fact I was here was mere coincidence. When you see Aba-chan, tell her that I'm sorry for losing her tracker. Tell her I will see her in a month. I have couple of things that I need to tend to. Besides, if I came with you guys, it wouldn't be safe for you. What do you mean about not being safe? Hanabi asked. He means that there are too many people looking for him. Don't worry, I will escort you back to Konoha. Jiraiya said to the group. Naruto looked at Jiraiya and nodded. He then turned to Konohamaru. When you see Hayami and Yumi, tell them I'm sorry, but I will be gone a month longer. Konohamaru grabbed his shoulder before he could walk off. I think you should know that the Cloud Shinobi that attacked her tried to kill her and Yumi-ne-chan a few days back. Naruto's fist tightened. Konohamaru continued, but Tsunade-sama has Temari and Sasuke watching over her. There was a long silence. His fist unclenched. She's in capable hands. Konohamaru was shocked by this response. What? I just said that Sasuke. I know. Sasuke and I may have differences, but he is strong enough to protect them. Also, he isn't stupid enough to put them in danger. Besides, Temari is there and she is someone I trust. As much as I want to go back, I can't. I have things I need to do. Just do me a favor, Konohamaru, can you watch over them as well? Konohamaru nodded. Naruto smiled, thank you. Before Naruto left, he reached in his holster. Konohamaru, make sure that you give this to Hayami and Yumi. Tell them that I'm closer than they think. Tell Yumi when they are truly in danger I will be there. He threw the two weird-looking kunai at Konohamaru, who caught them. After giving the two modified kunai a once-over, he placed them in his holster and watched as Naruto shunshined out of sight, leaving everyone behind. Jiraiya, who was looking at the group, well, I guess we should be heading out. Hanabi went to help Udon, who was surprised by this. She walked past Konohamaru and narrowed her eyes at the boy. Mogi whispered in his ear, I wonder what she's mad at you about ? Konohamaru, who was looking at the ground, I'm sorry Hanabi-chan, but that's a promise I don't think I will be able to keep, especially if you guys are in danger. Konohamaru, with Mogi on his back, followed the group as they made their way back to Konoha Central Tower 5 days later. Tsunade was standing in front of the group of genin that were strong enough to make it. On her right in order were Senzairu, Anko, Tenzu, Ino, Ibiki, a Junin from Rain, and one from Rock. On her left stood Kuin, Kumoko, a Junin from Sand, Mist, Grass, and Waterfall. She looked at the 33 genin that survived the tournament. She had explained the rules and the fact that the matches here were the preliminary round. Tsunade also explained how they would be fighting for self from here on out. She was about to continue when a whirlwind of leaves appeared in front of her. Sasuke, in a standard black Junin uniform with the traditional green vest and the Uchiha symbol on his right arm, appeared with Hayami at his side. I will take it from here. Kumoko eyes was a little startled to see the girl but was happy altogether, because when the girl's eyes landed on her she saw the fear in them. Tsunade walked up to Sasuke and spoke so only he could hear. What is she doing here, Sasuke ? 2 reasons. 1, I'm protecting her at all times like you said, and 2, she needs to confront her fear. Sasuke glanced at Kumoko. Tsunade looked at the female then back at Sasuke. Do you think that's wise ? One way or another she's going to have to get over it. Before it controls her, Sasuke thought. Glancing at Hayami, he said, look at me. The girl glanced up to Sasuke. Remember what we talked about over these last 5 days? She gave a weak nod. I remember. The world doesn't pity the weak and the fearful. But nothing, she is nothing. Look at her. Hayami shook her head. Sasuke glared at the girl. Before this is over you will look at her. If I have to lock you in a room with her you will look at her. Sasuke turned to Tsunade, who took the girl's hand. I will watch over her, continue Sasuke. Sasuke looked at the crowd. I'm Uchiha Sasuke, and I will be the judge for this portion of the exam. I'm sure Tsunade has informed you of the process of the preliminary round. Since there are 33 fighters, which means there will be 16 fights, one of you will be lucky enough to get a bye. Killing is allowed. You will be disqualified if someone enters the ring and comes to your aid. You can use weapons and any other tricks you might have. This will be treated as real shinobi battle. If you turn to the monitor on your left, your names will be displayed along with your opponent. When that occurs, come to the center of the ring. Makinu pumped his fist. I can't wait till it's my turn. Futeki shook her head. Now you're a fighter ? Don't get you ass kicked. Ranpu, who was next to the two, was watching the screen to see who was going to fight. When the two names appeared, his eyes widened in shock. Kuin smiled. Excellent. The monitor displayed, Hiyaka Rado vs Megami Akuru. Sasuke spoke. The two combatants displayed, please step forth. The others go wait in the balcony area. At the top of the balcony, Senzairu, Anko, and Tenzu were standing together with their squads. The shinobi from the cloud and the rock were on the other side. Tsunade, who was standing in behind Hayami and side by side with Ino and Ibiki, was standing in the middle portion of the balcony. The other Junin from Mist, Rain, Waterfall, Sand, and Grass were spread out. Sasuke looked at the two fighters. Are there any objections ? The two shook their head. Sasuke looked at the two then jumped back. Fine, begin. Akuru jumped backwards to create distance between herself and Rado. I don't know what he's capable of, so at this range I should be good enough to fight him. Suki, who was leaning against the gate, smiled. Creating distance clever, but it won't matter, not with Rado. Rado was standing with his arms folded. Are you going to attack or just look at me all day? I would have preferred to fight your teammate, but I will make the message loud and clear with you. Akuru threw shuriken at the boy, who moved to the side to avoid them. The girl appeared on his right, but when she went to strike he blurred out of her line of sight. This caused her to lose her footing. Ranpu, who was watching, thought, not good. Rado appeared behind the girl and backhanded her across the field. She skidded to a stop. He turned to Sasuke, you might want to call this one already. I don't think she's getting up. Akuru slowly picked herself up holding a coil wire in her hand. She smiled at the boy. I wouldn't be getting too why. Rado looked at his hand to see that a wire was wrapped around it. Oh, a coil of wire. Performing hand seals that Sasuke recognized. Smart, she's going to use a kaiten. Nero, who was leaning against the metal railing, said, that Akuru-chan is pretty fast. I mean to get that wire around his hand. Yasumi nodded, most impressive. Ranpu looked at the two that were talking. He activated his Byakugan to see why the said fighter was so relaxed. He knew why and Akuru would know why soon. Placing her fingers on the wires, here is a jutsu that Sensei taught me. Before she could perform it, everyone saw the electricity that surrounded her body. The girl fell to her knees. Jikoku had a wise smile plastered on his face. That girl is so done. Sasuke watched the girl struggle to get up. That kid isn't any ordinary genin. That technique he just used is similar to when I channel my Chidori into a weapon. This fight is over, she's paralyzed. Rado appeared in front of her. Niece, but now it's time I made my point. With a swift kick to the ribs, Akuru rolled over on her back. Rado continuously stomped her in her stomach, causing her to cough up blood. Makinu's fists were clenching as he heard his teammate scream. Ranpu was narrowing his eyes at the genin, and although Senzaru was getting mad, his visage remained calm. Rado picked up the paralyzed Akuru and punched her into the wall 10 feet away. Walking up to her, he picked her up by the head and held the unconscious girl so everyone could see. He then threw her to his left like a rag doll. The fight was over. Deciding to add insult to injury, he threw a kunai aimed at her heart, but it was blocked by Makinu. Rado just looked at the boy who was glaring at him. Do you have a problem? Rado asked. Makinu lost it and went to charge at the boy, but Senzaru appeared in front of him. Rado turned his back on the two and continued to walk. I don't have time to deal with weak shinobi. Senzaru glared at the boy, then at Kuin. He turned to Makinu, save your anger. Use it on your opponent. Akuru will be okay. Makinu shoved his sensei's hand off of his shoulder and ran towards Akuru, who was being carried by Medic Nin. He watched as his friend lay unconscious being carried away. Ranpu, who was watching from the balcony, so you want to make a statement? I will make one loud and clear. Just pray that we don't meet Rado. I got something better than that paralysis crap. Chuan looked at the girl leave. She spoke to Ino, that kid, his skill is good for his age. Ino nodded, yes it is. Sasuke saw two more names appear. Okay. Uepari Hane from the sand and Moya Murasaki from the mist come to the ring. The two entered the ring and the match commenced. After 5 minutes of fighting, the Suna Shinobi won. The next match was between Shiga Kou of the Rain and Demazu Shitsugan of the Waterfall. The match was even throughout, but in the end, Rain prevailed. Everyone present turned to watch the screen as it flashed. When it stopped, Ranpu turned to his teammate, looks like it's your turn. The screen displayed, Susheu Makinu vs En Musuyu. Makinu punched the air with a series of combos. Yes, I finally get to fight. I've been waiting too long. Futeki placed a hand on his shoulder. When he twisted his head to look at her, he was greeted by a grinning Futeki. Kick that shinobi's ass and get to the next round so I can kick your ass. He nodded, then he leaped off of the railing and landed into the ring where his opponent was waiting. Toshita looked at Futeki. Do you seriously think that dead last is going to win? Yay. I mean, how can a dead last loser like him win? Kiseki said, siding with Toshita. A hit in the head later by Futeki caused them to never talk about Makinu like that again. Anko smiled at her student. That's right, keep those two in check. Nero, of Team Yamato, said, I guess Mist will be advancing. I don't know about that, Nero. I believe we're going to see what Makinu-kun is made of. Yasumi thought. The quiet Yugen was thinking along similar lines. After seeing the speed that Makinu displayed, he knew that the boy improved dramatically. Makinu was smiling at the dark-haired black eye, shinobi from the mist. The mist nin didn't like the happy look on this kid's face. I'm going to wipe that happy look off of your face, kid. Sasuke looked at the two. You can begin at any time. The mist nin didn't waste any time. He created a field of mist that covered the ring. Makinu looked around, but he couldn't see anything. So this is how he's going to play it, coward. Anko turned to Senzairu. Looks like your boy is in trouble. Senzairu's smile caused Anko to ask, hey, what's with the smile question mark? He turned to Anko, every member of my squad can fight on sound alone. During our training sessions, I took away their sight from them to help them adapt to situations like this. This jutsu is ineffective against Makinu, just watch. Makinu closed his eyes, okay, listening for him. He's on the left of me and judging by the sound he just drew his kunai. Well, this is great, he gave me the advantage without relishing. The mist shinobi was twirling his kunai, this kid is done. I will finish this quick. Urisu, the female from the rock, was giving a smile of satisfaction, about time the kid learn his place. Renga agreed, my only regret is that I couldn't be the one to kick his ass. The mist shinobi smiled, now it's time to end this. He was shocked when he felt a kick placed in his chin. Everyone was surprised to see the mist nin fly out of the cloud of mist high above everyone. Makinu appeared behind the Suyu, who was also surprised by this. Senzairu, who had his arms folded, smirked, checkmate. Ranpu also was wearing a smile, fool, you gave him the advantage with that mist. You only brought it on yourself. Everyone else was looking on in shock. While behind the mist nin, now that you've seen the leaf shadow dance, it's time that I introduce you to my personal combo. With a swift punch with his right hand to the back of his opponent, he caused him to tense in pain. He then grabbed the boy while placing his left knee in his back. Leaning back forcefully, he propelled the both of them towards the ground, letting him go. He waited until he got within arm's reach and grabbed his ankle. He forcefully pulled him towards himself while placing a punch to the boy's stomach. Finishing it with a frontal flip, he placed his left foot in the boy's stomach while falling to the ground with his foot planted in the abdominal region. When his back hit the ground, the area broke up into pieces, creating a mid-sized hole. Standing on the defeated shinobi's chest, Makinu spoke to the shinobi, Suyu meet, crowning strike. Sasuke gave offer, PFT, and whispered, Shishi Renden is better. Everyone who was looking at Makinu, who stood on the mist shinobi, was astounded. Sasuke spoke, winner, Susheu Makinu. Jikoku gripped the rail tight, that brat. Rado looked at his teammate, then at the boy in the ring, impressive. It seems I underestimated him. The Kaneki from Rock was scared, you mean to tell me that I would have been hit by that question mark? Renga was also nervous, that kid. Ishii on the other hand was unfazed, HMPH, so he has some skill. It will be interesting to see what his teammate can do. Using his speed, Makinu appeared next to Futeki. What did you think of my new combo, Futeki-chan? She was speechless. Yasumi smiled, I knew you could do it, Makinu-kun. He was all Nero could get out. I know, was all that Yugen said. The next match flashed on the screen, Tamajori Ishii vs Fuyuniwa. Makinu, Futeki, and Ranpu turned to watch this match. Anko looked at Senzairu, did you teach him, Shadow of the Dancing Leaf, ? He shook his head, no, Lee did. The combo he created, that was all his. I trained them to be efficient in taijutsu and showed them some ninjutsu techniques, and how to fight when blinded. We didn't get to the advanced training yet, which I plan to get to after this exam. Mostly, I had them build up the taijutsu and their speed. For one, it requires less chakra and it's the best to utilize. Makinu saw Lee training and told me he wanted to learn what he knew, so I suggested he go ask him to teach him. Lee of course helped him without hesitation. I can only assume he taught him Leaf Shadow Dance. That kid was the dead last. Now look, almost everyone here is glad that they didn't fight him, Anko pointed out. Senzairu knew this would blow her mind. Let me let you in on a little secret, he's wearing weights. Anko eye bulged out their sockets. Weights, he has on weights ? Everyone on my team, even Akuru has weights on. Even though her speed would have increased, I'm not sure it would have mattered against that Cloud Shinobi. That kid is good, but it's to be expected from the Raikage's son. Sasuke announced the winner, Tamajori Ishii, wins the 5th match. The screen started to flash, drawing everyone's attention to the screen. The two names that appeared were Kashira Yasumi vs Nentu Kiseki. The two genin appeared in the ring. Sasuke motioned for them to begin the match. Tsunade was watching all the fights and was surprised by the skill level of some of these kids, especially Rado, Ishii, and Meikinu. She didn't expect much from Meikinu, but she was starting to learn that the dead last usually isn't the dead last. With her hands on a trembling Hayami, she could feel the fearful girl slightly shaking. I wonder if it is a good idea to have her here. Sasuke, what are you thinking? Sasuke glanced at Hayami, she still won't face her fear. She's not a monster, she's human. Just look at her. Sasuke heard a loud crash and turned back to the ring to see both opponents were knocked out. Looking at the two and seeing no movement from either of them, he raised his hand. This match ends in a draw. The monitor started to flash once more. The names that appeared were Sabujin vs Okuga Tsuki. Sasuke looked at the two coming down the steps. The seventh match is between Sabujin of the Sand and Okuga Tsuki of the Cloud. Senzaru, who was talking to Anko, decided to focus his attention on the next match. In fact, his whole team was focused on this match in particular. The Cloud squad interested them. He wanted to see what this squad was capable of. After only 2 minutes or so of fighting, Tsuki finished the girl off with a Raiten Jutsu. The Sand Kaneki was in the middle of the ring. Sasuke just watched as the girl stepped over her opponent. Those kids from Cloud are good. Tsunade was thinking the same thing. This group fought like they were already Chunin. She had no doubt that it would be a clean sweep for that team. She turned to the monitor to see the next match. Midoriya Bokuso vs Jinsei Futeki. When the name appeared, Meikinu jumped up. Futeki-chan, it's your turn, kick ass. Anko grabbed the girl's shoulder and pulled her close. I want you to destroy this kid. Kick his ass, Futeki. Futeki couldn't lose. She admired her sensei too much. She entered the ring. Sasuke looked at the two. You can start whenever. Anko looked at Senzaru. She's going to destroy this guy. Urasu whispered to Renga, isn't that the weak bitch we kicked the snot out of ? Sure is. Let's see how good she is when she's not protecting loses ? Renga leaned against the railing to focus on this match. The two shinobi started out with taijutsu, mostly a kunai match. Aiming at her head, Futeki went for a leg swipe with her left leg while balancing on her right hand, which connected. When Bokuso was falling, she quickly switched to her left hand for support and placed a right foot into his gut, sending him skidding across the ground. Futeki gathered herself and slipped back into a fighting stance. The Boxu got up and wiped the blood from his lip. She's too good to fight with just taijutsu. Let's see how she likes this. He started to spit seeds at Futeki, but she knew he wasn't aiming for her. His aim was too lousy. The seeds landed on the side of her. Now you will experience my technique. He did the hand seals necessary, plants of death. When he said those words, a vine shot out from the seed that was near Futeki's foot. She avoided by doing a front flip. But the seed that was in back of her sprouted as well. Before it could hit her, she jumped an open space. However, she had to immediately do a series of backflips to avoid being crushed by the vines. When she created enough distance, Boxu was surrounded by 4 large vines. His grin pissed her off. What will you do, Futeki ? How about I show you the vine's ultimate form ? The top of the vines sprouted heads with razor-sharp teeth that was dripping acid. She knew it was acid because when it hit the ground it burned through it. He put his hand forth, attack. The first one on the left crashed into the ground, but she avoided it, but she couldn't rest. She had to dodge the first one on the right. The man-eating vines went at her relentlessly. Yamato looked at Anko. She isn't faring too well, Anko. If this continues she might die. Anko gave him a side glance, then turned her attention to Futeki. No, she can win this. These plants are child's play. When the plant converged around where Futeki was at, Toshita and Kiseki, who was now awake, yelled out, Futeki. Ranpu turned his focus to the tiger seal statue, where Futeki rested. She's pretty quick when she needs to be. Boxu looked at the girl. Do you think you're safe up there ? Futeki grinned. The question is, do you think you're safe down there ? I'll tell you, the answer is no. Since you like growing planets, maybe you can talk to Ino-sensei about the finer points of growing plants after I retire you from shinobi duty. He narrowed his eyes at the Y girl. You. Jumping off of the statue, her back was inches away from the roof. Doing the hand seals at a decent speed, Anko smirked. Lights out. Futeki created the biggest kaiten, Gokakyu no Jutsu imaginable. The ring was swallowed in fire. The fire technique died down and Futeki landed in crouching position, with one hand on the railing in front of her squad. She was breathing hard. It was apparent that she used a lot of chakra for that technique, but when everyone saw the roasted grass shinobi on the ground twitching and his plants burnt to a crisp next to him, they knew it was over. Sasuke, who didn't avoid the blaze and yet was unscathed, pointed at Futeki, winner of the 8th match, Jinsei Futeki. The screen started to flash until it stopped on 2 names, Migiwa Kasumi vs Ryushu Nagare. The Genins were still reeling over the last match. They were definitely shocked by that display of a kaiten, but what was more impressive, the ref stood there like nothing happened. Jikoku couldn't believe it. How the hell did that guy not get a blemish on him? That guy is an elite shinobi by the name of Uchiha Sasuke, Kuin said to his genin. I thought the Uchiha clan was just a myth? Suki said to her instructor. Not a myth, in fact they are the clan with the strongest Kekkei Genkai, said to Suki. The Sharingan, the team turned to Rado. Sharingan? The words slowly danced off of Jikoku's tongue. Yes, the Sharingan. Did you pay attention at the academy or what? Not much is known about the Uchiha clan, but it's said that they have a dojutsu that allows them to copy ninjutsu, genjutsu, and taijutsu. It is said one shouldn't face a Sharingan user alone. For him to not be harmed by that technique, even if he is an elite ninja, says a lot about his skill. Jikoku made a mental note of everything that Rado was saying. He turned back to Sasuke. That Sharingan sounds scary. Rado spoke once more. If you think that sounds scary, our Hyuga friend has a dojutsu that is just as scary. Jikoku looked at Rado. Rado couldn't believe idiocy of his teammate. Since you gave me a blank expression, allow me to explain, you idiot. The reason our village has been after the secrets of the Hyuga is because of their Byakugan. That I can see the chakra system, and a skilled Hyuga can kill with one blow. You really need to read. Getting in the ring against that Ranpu kid, you would be a sitting duck. The match had ended as quickly as it started. Migiwa Kasumi claimed the victory for the 9th match. Sasuke was really getting bored with this. He hoped that Hayami would stare at the girl, but she didn't even look her way. The girl was clutching to Tsunade's leg like a frightened kitten. That disgusted Sasuke the most. He turned his attention to the screen. The next match, Tanpopo Ki from grass and Suba Urasu from rock. For all the talk, Urasu was crushed by the grass shinobi. Sasuke announced Ki as the winner of the 10th match. Tsunade knelt down next to Hayami. Hayami, what are you afraid of, sweetheart? She's going to hurt me? One didn't do anything to her, Tsunade-sama. Why? The girl started to cry. Tsunade embraced her while glaring at the Kumoko, who just returned the glare with a sinister smile. Tsunade made Hayami look her in her golden brown eyes. Hayami-chan, looking at her isn't going to kill you. I hate to admit, but Sasuke is right. You have to face your fears, sweetheart. I know, but I'm just so scared. Hayami wiped away her tears. Tsunade grabbed her chin. There's nothing to be afraid of. I'm here, and so is Sasuke. So will you look at her, Hayami? Hayami nodded. Tsunade wiped away the moisture under the girl's eyes. You're such a brave little girl. Naruto is going to be so proud of you. Hayami slowly turned her head. When Kumoko was in her line of sight, she stared. Kumoko was staring at the girl. She could see the fear. It was all over her. Using killer intent on the little girl, everyone turned to Hayami when they heard her screaming. She clutched her head. Please, please. Anko and Ino looked at the Cloud Junin, who was laughing, until she fell to her knees. The image she saw was of her worst fears coming true. It was the image of a golden fox overshadowing a sinister-looking Naruto. Kuin looked at her, not surprised at this. Rado and everyone else wondered what happened. Kumoko darted her eyes towards the Uchiha, who was giving a wicked grin. Looks like you forgot your station. Remember, Kaneki, you're only alive because I'd rather see Naruto's sword claim your head, but provoke me again and I will literally mind-fuck you. All of the genin realized that the ref eyes were now red. Rado looked at Kuin looking for answers. Kuin just simply said, one of the many powers of the Sharingan. Turning back to Sasuke, those eyes are capable of such a thing? Kumoko is one of the strongest Junin, yet he brought her to her knees with a glance. Rado eyes widened when he saw Sasuke standing over Kumoko. You are where you belong, bowing before me. That little girl is under my protection. If you want to get to her, ask a citizen of this village where the Uchiha compound is. We can settle up if you're brave enough. However, I wouldn't come by after midnight. I'm usually asleep and I just hate being woken for something as meaningless as killing you. Sasuke looked at the rock and the rain Junin. I know you have issues with Naruto as well. Since the idiot isn't here to take care of his affairs, I would be more than glad to. I can always use the practice. That goes for you too, Kuin. Both warriors flashed each other a smirk. After everything was done, Sasuke teleported back to the ring. He glanced at Hayami. Now it should be easy. The more you face it, the easier it gets. Looking at the screen flash, Sasuke watched as it stopped. Gosei Renga vs Funkazan Yugen. Anko looked at Tenzu. So how good is your boy? Wait and see Anko. Anko focused on the match to take place. Renga entered the ring with a air about him. Both shinobi was standing before each other. Sasuke had informed them that they could start the match anytime they wanted. Renga brought his hands together. The stadium began to shake as if an earthquake had been responsible. Adoton, these kids are using jutsus that they shouldn't have chakra for. I guess it's the changing of the guard. Tsunade made a mental observation. A dome of stone formed over Yugen. The genin from the rock wasn't finished. Doing a few more hand seals, 8 spears appeared from the ground and became airborne. They all turned towards the dome. When he brought his hand down, they flew at the stone capsule pierced it. Renga eyes darted to Sasuke. He's dead, you can call it now. Sasuke, knowing the boy and the clan that he was a part of, couldn't help but think this genin was a fool if he thought it was over. Yamato, who was on the balcony, was thinking the same thing. This match is far from over. You will regret using that technique. The genin on the other hand were in shock, with the exception of Ranpu and Kuin's squad. They didn't really care either way, they just wanted to get it all over with. Waiting for Sasuke to declare him the winner, his anger grew and he yelled at the ref, "Hey, call the match already, the kid is." He was shocked beyond belief when he felt the boy's chakra on his left. Coming up from the ground slowly, the other genin weren't expecting this. Makinu turned to Senzaru. Sensei, what did he do? Did he use a fire jutsu to escape? Instead of Senzaru answering, Yamato provided an answer. Yugen belongs to the Fukanzen clan. They weren't originally from Konoha, no, they came here about 20 years ago from a land south of Tea Country. Similar to the Uchiha clan, in regards to fire affinity, they also have bloodline limit that allows them to combine fire and earth to form lava. The jutsu that he used is exclusive to his clan only. What Yugen did was heated the ground beneath him into molten rock to escape. Senzaru looked at Makinu and Ranpu. If I were you two, I would pay close attention. It is imperative that you know how to fight him if you meet him in the tournament. Back in the ring, Yugen watched Renga, who was clearly agitated. You brat, my next attack will kill you. It's useless. Using dotons on me won't work. Even though I say that, I won't underestimate you. I will treat you like every other opponent and fight you to my full capabilities. Yugen extended his arms out. He looked like a human cross. What is he doing? Futeki said out loud to no one in particular. Senzaru looked at Yamato. Don't tell me he's going to do that? Yamato just nodded. He prayed for the boy but nothing would save him. It was over. Anko couldn't have been happier. Destruction and mayhem, oh how so beautiful. Sasuke looked at the kid from the Funkazan clan. This is starting to get interesting. The ground started to shake. Everyone started to notice that the stone floor started to turn to lava. The only piece left unscathed was where Renga stood. He started to look around to find a way out. He looked up then back at Yugen. As soon as he went to escape from an open space, lava shot up from all sides, sealing him off. Yugen smiled. This wasn't a normal occurrence. The boy was always quiet and spoke when it was necessary. Yamato could see that he was taking some joy in this match, which was completely different from his usual character. I wonder what got him this excited to finish it with this. Renga was now scared. He had underestimated this kid and now he would pay dearly for it. He could see the smile on Yugen's face. He closed his eyes. He was done. Bringing his hands together and interlocking them, his smile shifted into a serious frown. Molten earth ash. Lava erupted from the stone block that Renga stood on and swallowed him whole. Everyone, with the exception of the Junins, didn't believe what had just occurred. The ring was nothing but molten stone. The only parts unharmed by the lava pit were where Sasuke and Yugen stood. Sasuke glanced at the kid who was now breathing hard. Barker, you got a bad matchup. Your Doton was decent, but ineffective against him because of his clan's ability to manipulate earth and fire to form lava. Not hesitating, he finished him off with molten earth ash, a mashing. I think I'm starting to like this bunch. First that Makinu kid performs the leaf shadow dance in conjunction with his crowning strick, and then that girl Futeki used a Gokukyu no Jutsu to roast that grass shinobi. I can't wait to see the Hyuga fight. Yugen leapt from his current position back to where his team was at. Yasumi placed her hand on his shoulder. Good match, Yugen-kun. Nero, who was resting on the palm of his hand while using the rail for support, glanced at Yugen. Did you really have to go all out? One mean was it necessary? No. Looking across the platform over to where Rado stood giving a blank expression, it was to make a statement. Seems like you're making a lot of enemies, Rado-kun. Suki's comment caused a slight smirk to form on her teammate's face. That's one hell of a statement. Nero replied. Sasuke looked at the ring. What a mess. Turning to Yamato, the head of Squad 8 nodded. Forming the hand seals necessary, he spat out water from his mouth until it covered the ground enough to cool it off. Soon eyes were on the ring. This group is really surprising me at every turn. After about 10 minutes or so of waiting, Sasuke watched as the screen started to flash again until it stopped. Arano Uendo vs Cabe Toshita. The match only lasted a few minutes. The Sand Nin crushed the final member of Anko's squad to fight. The next match that flashed on the screen was Chobo Nero vs Nakim Hazumi. The two entered the ring and Sasuke motioned for them to start. Sasuke really expected more after the last fight. He was kind of disappointed. His thoughts kept drifting to Hayami. Maybe he shouldn't have made the girl face her early. He stole glances at the girl often. Hiding behind Tsunade, he didn't know what he could do to free of her fear. He started to wonder why he even cared so much. But every time he wondered why his answer came to him. She reminds you of yourself, she reminds you of your scared, cowardly, defenseless 8-year-old self, little brother. Itachi's voice echoed in his head. His eyes softened as he observed the girl. I was weak, very weak. Walking my path is something I don't want her to do. That fear turns into anger, that anger turns into hatred, and that hatred swallows you whole. It's a vicious cycle. Sasuke's attention went back to the match when the female from Rain hit the ground hard, clearly knocked out. He announced Nero as the winner. The screen started to flash once more. When it stopped, this should be interesting, was the thought that ran across Sasuke's mind. Hyuga Ranpu vs Ikazuchi Iro. Senzaru saw the small smile that formed on Ranpu's face. He's going to try and destroy this cloud shinobi. Kumoko was finally going to get the chance to see one of her genins fight. She spoke to the boy before he went down to the ring. I want you to kill him. I will accept nothing less. I intend to. He said, assured that he would. Ranpu wasted no time appearing in the ring. Sasuke watched the Hyuga. He's fast, just about even with Lee and me at that age. Show off. Nero looked away disgusted. This should be an interesting match, Futeki said to Makinu. He didn't agree. No, it's not going to be interesting. I might not like Ranpu, but he is an excellent shinobi. He's going to destroy this cloud shinobi. Looks like your star pupil is up, Anko commented. Ranpu decided not take a fighting stance. He felt it wouldn't be needed. He really wanted to show how weak his opponent was compared to him. Iro took this as an insult. You should activate your Byakugan Hyuga. It's your only chance. Trust me, I won't need it for this fight. In fact, I'm certain that you won't land a hit on me. His confidence didn't sit well with Iro. On the balcony, who does he think he is? He shouldn't say things like that, Futeki said. Serious eyes watched Ranpu. I hate to admit it, but he's right for once. That guy won't land a hit on him. All of the Leaf Genin turned to Makinu. What makes you so certain? Nero asked. Because his speed is even greater than mine. Futeki couldn't believe what she heard. She saw Makinu's speed firsthand in the forest. If his speed was greater than Makinu's, then she didn't know what to think. Iro threw a kunai at Ranpu. When the kunai got close to Ranpu, he and the kunai disappeared in mid-air. Iro couldn't comprehend what had just happened. Out of all of the genins, Reido, Suki, Ishii and Makinu were the only ones to see what had happened. Iro didn't figure out what happened until blood erupted from his shoulder. He fell to one knee clutching the gash over his shoulder. He's so fast, Yasumi couldn't believe his speed. Futeki's eyes were wide in shock. She didn't even see him move from his spot. That's not what really shocked her. The fact he was able to catch the kunai and cut the shinobi without her seeing it was impressive to say the least. I guess that's why he was this year's #1 rookie. Ranpu tossed the kunai to the side and twisted his head enough to see his opponent on one knee. He only received a glare from the boy. Kumoko narrowed her eyes at the Hyuga who turned his attention to her. Sorry, but looks like he won't be able to follow through on that kill. Disappearing from the spot on which he stood, Iro who had his eyes on the boy couldn't even track his movement. The speed he was displaying was not normal. Senzaru saw Makinu clutching the railing. So he's jealous. Don't worry Makinu, you're not as far off as you think. If you were, you wouldn't be able to keep up. You're within touching distance of him, you must realize that. The Cloud Genin slowly rose from the knee he was resting on. Taking his eyes off of the Cloud Junin, he tilted his head slightly to look at his opponent. So you decided to get back up. Guess some people never learn. Vanishing from the eyes of those who couldn't keep up, he appeared behind the boy once more. Why is he showing off? He should end this ? Futeki said in frustration. It's over, Makinu simply said. She was about to respond until she saw blood spray from the Cloud Shinobi's arms and legs. Studying Ranpu, she saw him clutching a kunai in each hand. Sasuke pointed to Ranpu. This match goes to Hyuga. Ranpu. Medic squad ran on the field to get the Cloud Shinobi. One of the medics shook his head. The boy lost a lot of blood. He was certain they could heal him, but it would take him a long time to recover. They picked the boy up and rushed him out of the ring. How disappointing. I thought it would be an interesting match and the Hyuga kid ends it early. He could have at least played with him longer, Sasuke couldn't help but think. Ishii, the only surviving rock shinobi, looked at the Hyuga. I have to be cautious with him. He didn't display that speed in the forest. This kid is just as dangerous as that Reido kid. Also, I can't underestimate that Makinu kid. Ranpu's sudden appearance next to Senzaru startled Futeki and the other genins. I thought you didn't care about Ikuru ? Ranpu looked up at his sensei. She's a teammate and a friend. That fight wasn't about the idiot unlucky enough to get matched up with me. It was more a message to that Reido kid. Oh. And what is that message ? Senzaru asked. That it's only a matter of time before I crush everyone and get to him, so he better be ready, Ranpu told his sensei. Pointing at Ranpu, Makinu yelled out, wait a minute, what's this crush everyone? You got to get through me. I got dibs on that bastard. Ranpu stared at his teammate, before smiling, so you want him to ? Whatever, just be prepared to fight for it. That, leaf shadow dance, won't work on me. Don't worry, I got something for you. Senzaru saw the looks that the two boys exchanged. It wasn't the normal tense, I hate you, look. It was more of a joking manner. He didn't realize how the bond between his team strengthened. He knew they were good as a team, but Makinu's willingness to attack that Cloud Shinobi that injured Ikuru and Ranpu humiliating his opponent to make a point to the Cloud Shinobi responsible for Ikuru's current condition, showed that they didn't fight for one another just because they were on the same team, they fought for one another because they were friends. Regardless of the outcome of this tournament, he was happy because he did his job. The screen flashed until it stopped and revealed, Inkan Jikoku vs Mitome Natsu. This match grabbed Makinu's attention more than anyone else's. Anko tapped Senzaru's shoulder. That Hyuga kid is fast. He didn't even use his Byakugan for this match. It was no point. You saw what Ranpu did before he appeared in the ring. He kept his eyes on the boy's eyes to see if they were following him. When he saw the boy couldn't follow him, he saw it was unnecessary. The match was over at that point. Senzaru folded his arms. Hearing footsteps get closer, he saw his mother walking toward him with Hayami clutching to her side. He couldn't help but feel bad for the girl. But he was satisfied that Sasuke did what he did. When his mother got close, she spoke, these kids are good. It looks like the Leafs' future is looking good if they are going to be the ones to guard it. Yasumi stuttered, Ho, Ge-sama. Tsunade looked at the girl who was frozen in place. She relaxed when Tsunade flashed a smile. Kashira Yasumi, that was a nice match you fought. I hope you will train harder to protect Konoha. The girl nodded, yes Hokage-sama. Futeki pointed to Hayami, who is that brat question mark. Clutching her head after Anko punched her in it, you will address Hokage with respect when speaking to her. The girl rubbed her head. Tsunade held in a laugh but answered, this little girl is Manashu Hayami. Hayami, why don't you say hi question mark? Waving at the girl she said, hello. Looking at the girl like some weird experiment, Futeki addressed Tsunade, this time properly, Hokage-sama, why is she so shy question mark? Why don't you ask her question mark? Tsunade told the girl. A large sound caught everyone's attention. Turning to the ring, Tsunade saw that the rain shinobi was down, and judging by stillness of his neck, he was more than likely dead. Looks like I was right, a clean sweep for that group. Sasuke watched the cloud shinobi walk past him, so they sweep through. Interesting. He turned to the monitor to see the last and final match. Shimofuri Tsukai vs Tiger Fushido. Kumoko was delighted by this. Even if Tsukai lost to this shinobi from Waterfall, she would have a reason to stay in the leaf. Looks like Kushoku gets the bye. This is perfect, just perfect. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.